at this time of day. We're just really thrilled that we're in this next chapter of this program, that as the third thing we'll say thank you for, you have all been patient with us since we are building it as we go and figuring out the things that we haven't said or have said or did differently or haven't, managed as well as we could. We're learning a lot and taking a lot of notes for how we do this going forward as well. So with that, I want to jump straight into helping us get going on questions and answers and conversation about this. And I want to formally introduce all of you on the call to my partner and colleague and friend, Sam Kimple, who is our program officer at Creative Sonoma and who, as you all know, was not able to be with us on the day of the days of the trainings, which was heartbreaking given how much time and thought we had worked on together to get this going, but who many of you have met either via email or phone, and a handful of you lucky people have also met her in person. She is going to be steering the ship from this point forward, and you are in very capable hands. She is a steady and trusted navigator, to beat that metaphor as hard as I can. So let me, with that, kick it over to Sam and let her take us through the day.
Sure thing. Thanks so much, Kristen. And once again, I'm sorry I couldn't join you. If we had been able to do hybrid, we had issues with that, but as you experienced, it was a hands-on kind of being in the room kind of thing. So I'm happy to see your faces to go with your names that I know so well at this point. So before we get started, I just wanted to make sure that those of you that are advocates, I know we have a number of advocates on the call from various organizations, but one of our major partners is the City of Santa Rosa Public Art Program. And we have both Tara and Jessica here, if they want to introduce themselves very quickly, because they are funding a large tranche of these grants, and you are working with them either as a funder or as directly with the advocate. So Tara or Jessica, did you want to say anything quickly?
Hi, it's been great to meet everyone that we've met with so far. We look forward to working with those that are being partnered with us that we're funding or serving as an advocate. So thanks for all your great work. And Jessica, if you want to say hi, I'll turn it over to you.
Hi, everyone. I'll just second what Tara said. We're looking forward to your projects. And I guess I'll just do a quick reminder for anyone that is has a different advocate, but is funded by Santa Rosa, you'll still want to meet with us. So you can go ahead and email me. Thanks.
Great. And we'll have opportunities. What we're going to do for this time together is I'm going to show you where things live on the webpage and how to get into into the proposal form if you haven't done that already. And any forms that you have to work on jointly with your advocate, and then our advocates, vice versa, what you need to provide to your artist for that application. And I'm going to share my screen. We're going to actually go through it line by line so that any questions that you have about the application, we can stop and ask. So Kristen, if you can help me see chat or Q&A or questions that arise or hands up, so that we can, as we go through it, we can ask those questions, because it's not a very long application. So thank you. I see that about needing to head out at 12:20. So I will share the screen. We'll go through it line by line, and then we'll let you ask questions as we go. And then at the end, we'll stop and see if you have any additional questions. And so I'm just going to hit that share button to share my screen here. Okay. All right. You should be seeing our screen here. Let me move some things around on my desktop so I can see you all. Okay. All right. So as many as you know, we've put all of the materials you need on the actual webpage for the ArtSurround program, which lives under our grants. So I wanted to make sure that we just step through this for anybody that hasn't gone here already or doesn't know where to look for it. This is all the information that should be in your email that you received from us when we announced the pairings, but I just wanted to show everybody quickly where to find things. So if you go to creativesonoma.org/grants and go to active grant programs, the ArtSurround cohort and training grants, it says currently closed, but the page is still here. And you go to that page and we see the lovely mural by Josh Lawyer during the Santa Rosa's Open and Out program. We get down to the bottom, you have to go to the very bottom of the page. So we kind of don't want people to stumble upon this that aren't accepted into the program. So it's kind of hidden down there at the bottom of the page. So here we have the forms that you were sent in the email as attachments, but they also live here. The ArtSurround artist budget worksheet, which we'll talk about when we get into the session here. And then your advocate letter of commitment template. This workshop, we will remove this link and put the link to the recording here after this closes today, after that is ready. And then if you want a paper version of the submittable form, to print out and make notes or anything like that, the PDF of the form is there, but you need to complete it within submittable to submit it. So we don't take if you send a paper one, we're going to have to either work with you to get it into the application or ask you to do that. And we're happy to walk through that with anybody that has any technical issues. Where you find the actual form is within submittable. So you have to log in like you're going to your original submittable application. And once you get in there, you will see your ArtSurround artist cohort application. This form is attached to your artist cohort application. So it will be just another tab that will read along the top. You'll see your artist cohort application, and then you'll see one titled ArtSurround Artist Project Proposal Form. And so that's how you find that. And if you have any questions, you can call our office or email Creative Sonoma at sonoma-county.org, or me or Kristen, and we'll have someone help you, either myself or Bernadette from our office. So once you get into this artist project proposal form, I'm just going to go through line by line. And if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask, and I'll have Kristen look for hands up or chat. So your project name, we want a catchy project name. This is different than your site name. So if you're working in Petaluma, Putnam Plaza, you may want to give it a name other than that. So we know that this is Fabulous Mosaic Project, or this is a name that it can be anything that you want to name it. So we just want a unique identifier for your actual individual project. The next line is a site to which you've been paired. And I believe these are all in there. So your site should be here. And you just pick that. And if there's an issue with that, if there's something missing, I've gone through it multiple times. If it's missing or something, let me know. We'll add it for you. Your project advocate's first or last name. And so this would be, if you're paired with Santa Rosa, this would be just Jessica Rasmussen. If you're paired with Sonoma Community Center, I see Jill Valavanis is on this call, so it'd be Jill's first and last name and the advocate's email name. So we have both of those. And then the next thing is the lead artist first and name. So most of you are working solo, so it will be the lead artist. You are the lead artist in the rare event that you have decided to partner on one project. And so there's multiple artists on site. You decide to create a joint project. You have to choose which of you is the lead artist, and that's the name that would go in there. Any questions about that? I'm just gonna keep moving through if you don't have any questions, or jot down your questions and we'll make sure that we address your questions at the very end. And so that's you, the solo artist or the lead artist, your name and email. And so the next one is really letting us know that for sure you're a solo artist or artist team. And when you check if you are indeed partnering with someone, if you checked artist team, you'll get a form that you have to fill out that's required. And so the team member's name, their email, and what role they're playing. So if they're co-designing and you're applying as the lead artist, if they're doing some community engagement as part of the work, those are just simply in just a couple words what you are designated at, your role, in addition to the lead artist. Number 8 is providing a 2 to 3 sentence description of the project. And so this is where we will use this. We'll use whatever you submit and maybe massage a little for, length and voice, make sure that we all have a similar format. If we get to a point where we would really love to publish a list of all of your amazing projects. So it would be the title of your project that you've designated, the very number 1, and then 2 to 3 sentences about it. There's a good description underneath it, who's doing it, where it's taking place, your target audience or goals, and if community will be engaged around any specific theme or motif. So think about the things you learned in your workshop experience and capture that a little bit as best you can, because this will be used in media and promotion and reports to our funders. And there so far I made up an example with a fictional person so that you kind of get a sense of what we're looking for. And then this is number 9 is describe how the project meets the advocate goals. And so this is where you want to find out from your advocate in your discussions what they hope to accomplish. Is it enlivening the space? Is it bringing foot traffic? Is it educational? What are their goals for this project and what do they hope it'll address? So make sure that that information is included there. And this is short, you'll notice it's 100 words. So again, just a few sentences about how that is addressed. You can keep it fairly simple there. Then the bigger one is the project narrative. Number 10, provide a written description of the proposed designed and or community arts event or activity, if you're including them, any planned in community engagement. So if you do have a team, describe how you work together in each other's role. So this is, we want some pretty good, solid narrative about what it's going to look like. So if you want to just expand on that 2-sentence description in number 8 about who's doing it, where it's taking place, target audience or goals, this is more of the meat. So how is that going to happen? More about the site and what it will do at the site and what it will mean for the people that are participating. I will pause for a second to see if there's any questions. Looks good. Okay, locations. This, I know some of you might have a more ethereal location. So if you're writing a song about a place, let us know where that activity is going to take place. So if you're writing a song that may be utilized in the future at community events, talk about how it will be used in that location and what where it's targeted. So otherwise, it could be, if it's a large site, let us know that it's on the northwest corner of such and such park, or at this entrance of this location. Crossroads, street locations are as best as you can. We know that some of those installations might be a little more squishy. Any questions?
Sam, Yeah, I
Yeah.
have a question. And we have a
Mhm.
few artists within Santa Rosa who have identified a couple sites that they want to work with. And I just want to assure them that they can submit the proposal with those sites. And if those don't work out, we'll keep moving forward with other sites.
Fabulous.
Okay.
Great information. Thank you, Jessica.
Mhm.
So as best as you know, the location as you're making this proposal is what we're needing here. If it's digital, so make sure that that is a location that you include. If there's any kind of digital element, that would be fantastic.
Sam, I have a question about location.
Sure thing.
So what happens if, you decide on a location and then because of circumstances, that doesn't work out? Do you go back into the proposal form and change it? Or do you just, because in these kinds of projects, things are changing all the time.
Absolutely. And that is fine for really, we're thinking about this as a proposal, and we know that some things may change at the end. And we all, as we talk about budget too, I mean, if we end up that we have more money or figure out a way of increasing, or we ask you to scale up or down, we know that some things may change. We also know that things occur, pandemics, natural disasters, those kind of things we are highly aware of in our county. So for the proposal stage, this is where you think this will be sited or occurring is fine.
And then Sam, do you want to put a process in place for now if as soon as someone does know that something changes, should they just email you?
Yes, I think
Okay.
that's best. If you have changes, you can work with your advocate and work with us. What we will hope to pin down after the proposal, and we could talk about this at the end a little bit further, but once we get to the contracting stage, which will occur after the proposals are reviewed, we should have a good sense of where and when and how much these projects are being funded for. And so if there becomes a change after you've been contracted, we actually have a super simple form that we use for all our grantees and contracts that just, if there's any significant changes, we just need to document it, and it's really simple. So it's kind of just, now it's occurring here. We say, oh yes, that's within, you'll talk it through with us, of course, and we'll let you know if that's within the realm of your contract, but we can talk about that. And that's our process. I'll let you know if there's a few other people, a number of you contracting with the city of Santa Rosa or Windsor. So we can talk through that as that occurs. So yes, we do have plenty of processes. For now, it's your best guess, your best research, your best discussion with your advocate to pin down as much of this as possible in the proposal. The next section is timeline and significant dates. And so this, once again, we're not asking you to actually schedule things and get the permit. If you need to, yes, you can do that. But if you know that this is going to be occurring during October, we just need the general dates and the duration of how long this is going to be. Like, this will be exhibited for 3 months, or this is a one-time event that will occur on this weekend in November. We are trying to head towards having these concluded by December, but we know that if you're working with another partner, we can extend it through the year if we need to. But the intention was try to make these temporary projects that are enlivening our fall and early winter. Okay, any other questions before we get to budget? Because I know we might end up with questions around the budgets.
I have a question about when if the proposals are due by the 22nd of, I think, of August, when we would hear back, because we have a process underway for Putnam Plaza that we're talking about starting at the beginning of September. So it's tight.
Yes, we should be able to get back within, I'm going to say 2 weeks. That might be aggressive. I haven't talked to our Santa Rosa partners here to find out when they have a separate process, but for the rest of you or that are going to be contracting with Creative Sonoma, we should be able to turn that around.
Great, thank you.
We'll do our best to do it as quickly as possible. because I know some people have separate processes too for their own installations. Any other questions? Okay. Now upload the budget worksheet, and that is the worksheet that it's very general, and I should have opened one already, but I will go ahead and do that now. Hold on 1 second. So the budget, as you all have read and been alerted to, the budget must include at least 20% for your artist fee. Can everybody see this budget proposal form right now on the screen? Okay, great. All right, so the items in blue are the items you need to fill out. So your name, and so if there are a group, if people end up coming in as a group project, each artist needs to fill out their own forms. So this is the portion that you would be contracting, because we won't be contracting if you're a group with a group of artists, we'll be contracting with each individual artist, at least for us, from those contracting with Creative Sonoma. And so we want to know your name and your portion of the budget if it's a team. Now, most of you are working as solo artists, so this is just about you and what you're doing for your project. Your name, your budget and amount. This is how much you're asking for your project in this box right here. So this is your project name, that fun little project name that you've created for your number 1 in your application form. This is yes.
So we received emails with how much money was allotted for our projects. Is that the amount that we should be putting in there?
You can propose, yeah, that's our target amount.
Yeah.
For those of you that received an email with a targeted amount. Yes, you can. And then there's a place after this form to say what you would do with more or less money.
Okay.
So that's the goal amount. Other income. So this, we don't expect this at all, but perhaps your advocate is saying, oh, we're going to chip in. We have a sponsor, and so we're going to add to this project, match Creative Sonoma, or we have a sponsor for your materials. Or we as the site are going to help with other expenses, or you want to put your own money in, which we're not asking you to do and don't expect that at all. But that has occurred in some other projects, or you have some sort of fundraiser or, GoFundMe, those kind of things that actually have occurred in the past. That's not a requirement at all, but we wanted to give you that option, because that does occur in other grant programs and commissions. So just so you know, it's there. We wanted you to see that. And so that's completely optional. These yellow forms, please don't type in those, because those are automatically filled in. So if we put in $5,000, oops, oh, it's locked, sorry. $5,000 here. It'll automatically fill in all the way down to your budget. And then here you required, we're going to say you're going to take half of that in your artist fee. And then you can just fill in the other things, materials. Paint. I'm just doing very some general. Or actually, let's put in 2,000 and maybe permits and insurance. $50 and maybe transportation. Oops. You have to rent a truck for a couple hours and you have your gas to get to your site. And so what we're hoping in the expense boxes is that you will tell us your minimum artist fee. Now that can be 100%. If you are showing up, you have your supplies, you're showing up, you're spending 3 days painting something, and you're using paint that was donated. that could be 100% of your cost. We don't expect that. We know that we want to see materials and so forth, but it's not unheard of. Want to say that that's okay if you need to. And so anything that you are you cover using your contract to cover, we want to see here, and we want to see that it zeroes out here. So if you put in another, you know, installation hardware and it's $200, you're going to see that there's a surplus deficit here of an extra $200. And we're going to say, where does that $200 come from? So who's covering that? So it's best if it's equals zero here. So this is the amount you've budgeted to the program. And then here's all your expenses, including paying yourself. And so everything, this is including, but not limited to, I'm sure there's people that will think of other things that this money can cover, this contract / grant, materials and fabrication or production, installation, transportation or travel costs, studio and operations expense. So if you operate a studio, you can charge some of the overhead, the time that you spend in your studio and the money, you know, part of your rent or utilities, insurance taxes, permits, or other fees. This is a contract that you will be taxed on. So if you want to say, I know I need to put aside a few $100s or more to cover my taxes that I'm going to pay on this contract, you can put that into this contract on our end. I'm not sure about Jessica, if you want to chime in on that too, but okay, she says thumbs up. Yes, we can include your taxes. And then post installation documentation. So if you're going to spend some time coming in and videotaping it, that can be part of your artist fee, or if you're going to be paying for Facebook ads or any kind of documentation or promotion of your work, you're welcome to include that as an expense.
I have
Any
a question?
Yes, please.
What about paying somebody else to do something?
Yes. We will make sure that our contracts allow for that. But there are rules and regulations about living wage expenses. And so that can get a little tricky in the state of California, because you may have to attest that you will abide by living wage standards if you're going to be hiring or subcontracting. For the most part, our contracts do not allow for subcontracting, but if it looks like you in your proposal will be, we will have to develop some special language around that. Does that make sense to anybody? Everybody?
Yeah, and I'll just chime in
Michelle.
for Santa Rosa, we don't have the same restrictions, so we can do subcontracting through our artist agreements.
Thank you, Tara.
So how do we know what a permit? I've never had to do that.
You will check with your advocate to make sure that you have the clearance. They'll let you know. Susan, you're working in Petaluma, so I would check
Right.
with Cinda
Right.
and find out what kind of permits are needed. So you might need to make a quick call, or Cinda might need to make a quick call if she doesn't already know, with the city of Petaluma.
Yes,
And
Susan,
so-
we are working on the permit side. We can talk about it more when we meet tomorrow.
Okay, great. Thank
So
you.
that's one of the things that you'll definitely want to talk about with your advocate, or if you have questions, please reach out to us. Because or if you're working with Tara and Jessica, they are by far the pros in our county on this. So any other hands up? I see a little icon. Michelle?
Yeah.
Hi.
Do you have any fair market value listings that we can reference that? So let's say there's honorary, let's say it was a public speaking engagement and I invited a speaker, for example. Do you have any FMVs?
Yeah, we have examples. I don't know if Tara And Jessica, you have any examples like in public art going rates or kind of thing like that? We have a few for like speakers fees, and teaching artists. There's a calculator for teaching artists that can kind of be something that you can look at that is kind of helpful. Tara, did you want to see?
We don't have anything that we provide. So, I mean, if there's something that you want to download, that is, I've seen used like state per diem type rates, things like that, but we don't require that in our budgets usually.
We just, I know if you have questions about that specifically, if you want to reach out to me or Tara or Jessica, we're happy to discuss that, because what we don't want people to do is to underpay themselves or undercompensate themselves. We want to make sure there's a fair rate. For Creative Sonoma, we've set a base rate. If someone's speaking or presenting a workshop, it's usually $100 an hour minimum and goes up from there. So a lot of contractors and consultants go anywhere from 30 to hundreds of dollars per hour. So it's really one of those things that there's no set standard. So, but happy to talk through it with anybody.
I have another question that has to do, when we send this off, you talked about massaging it.
Yeah.
Massaging our text. Love that word. Anyway, we will get to see what you've done so that we can do further approvals or edits on that.
Oh yeah. We'll
Okay.
be working with you all individually.
Okay.
From our end, and I'm sure City of Santa Rosa and our two other, I think we have one other contractor from Town of Windsor. We'll work with you directly on developing your contract. So you'll actually have to create a contract. We'll have to go into contract with you, and so all of those details will be worked out.
Okay,
Ahead of
thank you.
time. Mhm. Any other questions on the budget form? We tried to keep this as simple as possible. Okay.
I have a question.
Sure thing.
You talked about scaling up and scaling down. I don't see anywhere where we can address that.
Sure. Let me stop this. And don't see. Okay, we're going back to the additional. We're going to our form here that's attached to your original application. And so after you do upload your budget form to this item here, which can be as a docx, PDF, XLS, or XLSX. So those are the different document formats that you can have. We need to know the total for the project. And the reason we have this here is it's really easy for us to download, and we can see what people are asking for your budget request. And you can't, we would rather have whole numbers in here. So put that in there. If it's solo project, that's just yours. If it's a group project, total all of your worksheets. So if each of you is proposing a $3,000 and there's 3 of you, it would be $9,000 in this field. But otherwise, it's just the total request from your budget worksheet. And so here, this is number 15 for Patty and everybody else curious about that. Is your project scalable, either up or down? Sometimes people propose things that are not scalable. You know, this is the sculpture, this is what it's going to be, this is what it's going to take, this is the time it's going to take. But if it's a project that can be lengthened or shortened as far as performance time or installation time or size or the number of people involved, we'd love to know what you could do with less or more in your budget. And that's where you can tell that there.
Thank you.
And that's it's 100 words. So we made this a required field. So if you're not answering this question, just write something in this field like it's a fixed budget, or no, I'm not able to scale up or down. That's all we need there. And number 16 is the upload of any materials that you are presenting as part of this proposal. And so we can have up to 10 files. There's lots of file types, from visual documents, photos, pictures, designs, sound, video. So it's wide open. Please only put one item in each file. We don't want a collage of images in one file. So please put one image, one item in each of those uploads. And then make sure it has a descriptive title. So we get a lot of people that upload items directly from their camera roll and it has a name like image 123456789.jpg. That's not very helpful for us to see what it is. And that also helps us to match below the description of what you've uploaded. The types of things we welcome here are your conceptual drawings, if you've made a maquette or a model, animation, if you've done an animation of what it's going to be looking like as an installation, that illustrates your scale and materials, anything that you want to draw, create, submit digitally to give us a sense of your project would be awesome. If you're doing a written, because we do have literary artists, we have some that are purely doing work as far as community engagement type things. You can include your curriculum, your event plan, samples of what you want to do. So that could be past similar programs that you've created. Examples of those, maps and diagrams we always like, so we know where it's occurring in the site. Any questions about what types of things you can upload? And Tara and Jessica, you're welcome to chime in here too if you have anything that is beyond what is here.
Is that required?
Yes, yes, up to 10. You don't need 10 if you don't have 10, you know, if you feel like a couple images of your drawing of a mural or your installation, we'd like as much as you can to let us know how, if we can conceive how it's going to look once it's installed, or sound, or be experienced, because there's different types of projects.
Do you care if the file size is 10 MB or 5 MB or 2 MB? Can you handle 10? Is it okay to submit large size?
It's going to be, it's up to 400 MB.
Wow.
It's pretty high, but it will top out. I mean, some videos are very, very huge. And so we can't always have those videos, a bunch of videos. So if they're huge videos, you may have to compress them. I think this form will take up to 800, but the smaller the better. It's easier for us to upload and watch, but it's pretty good. It's pretty robust. It's only when we get into hardcore video producers that we run into that maxing out. Any other questions? Okay. Number 17. So you've given each item a really good title, and then down in 17, we just want to see, you know, the Ramirez weaving sample. It might be weaving sample utilizing cotton and found objects. So just so we have a general sense of what we're seeing, any materials that you're using, dimensions, duration, those types of things, but not very much. We don't need a ton of information, maybe just a few words or a sentence about what that upload is. And then provide the signed advocate commitment letter. Let me open that. And this is, once again, a pretty simple form. We just need a letter, and this could be a very short letter. This is just that you and your advocate or advocates with your artist, you've agreed upon how you will be working together. So the letter should have the advocate's logo or letterhead, so we know who it's from. the date of the letter, addressed to the artist. So, dear Patty Bailey, we have this letter to serves as a commitment and support for your project as proposed in your proposal form that you are probably collaborating on. The project name, the site name, and the general when it's taking place. And so anything that the advocate wants to place here is welcome. It may just be that they're providing the site and some staff time to work with you. So access to the site, if they're providing any materials or physical items, any other support or access from your advocate or their other staff. If you've committed as an advocate to making sure that the project is secure or safe, or that you will repair it while it's occurring, that can be included here, whether or not you're covering the cost of permits or insurance, if that's applicable. And then we just need, for the purpose of eventually contracting, this will be attached to your contract when we get to that for at least for Creative Sonoma, your advocate signature. So you can either sign it and then scan it, or if you want to turn it into a PDF and sign it and send it to us, that would be fine. And then we need the advocate typed and their advocate address if it's not included in the letterhead. So it's pretty simple. I don't want people to get too deep on this, but we just want to make sure that the advocate has agreed to the things that you're proposing in your proposal form, basically.
So, Sam?
Yes.
Should we be attaching this as a scan or a PDF to our proposal, or should they be sending it directly to you?
No, you need to obtain it from them and upload it with your proposal.
Okay.
I'm going to close this one so that we can go back to the form so you can see where that goes. And so after you've described your attachments for your portfolio, the last thing here is to go ahead and provide that letter. And so that if you just click choose file, it'll give you the upload button to add that letter to this document. So the advocate does not need to do anything except provide, well, other than your meetings and agreeing up on all your projects. As far as this form is, they need to provide the advocate commitment letter to you, the artist, who will upload this, because they don't have access to this form because it's attached to your original application to the cohort. And that could be, it could be a document, it could be a PDF, and then it can be an image. If you want to take a picture of it and upload it, that's fine. And you can continue, you can start this today, or if you've already started, you might see that you can save the draft. So you can be in here working on it up until 11:59 p.m. on Monday, August 22nd. I don't suggest you do that. Please try to submit earlier, and earlier is better. With everything we do, we always, once we receive it, we make sure your links work and all of that good stuff. So we'll double check that everything is uploaded correctly, and we can always reopen it if there's an issue. But we'll make sure that it works technically. Questions? I saw a hand. Michelle, did you have another question?
I did.
Okay.
So it just came to mind when you're talking about the advocate commitment letter.
Mm-hmm.
Who owns, let's say it's a sculpture or a painting or an object, who has the rights or limitations, things like rights to reproduce, copyright, ownership? Is that all going to be the advocates? Is it considered advocates' property?
It depends on what we determine in the agreement. So once we get you to the stage of contracting, we will determine that. Tara, do you want to address that, or Jessica from the City of Santa Rosa's viewpoint?
Sure. For our contracts, depending on the size of the budget and the size of the project, we have two different types of contracts we can use, but they're both artist services agreements, which protect the rights of the artist by letting the artist maintain copyright. But if it's considered a temporary installation, the city is not owning the piece in any way, and we're essentially just paying you to create something that will be on our property, or that we're paying you for to display for a certain amount of time, and then you take it back. If the agreement is more for a permanent or ongoing installation where we then take on ownership over it, then essentially we become the owners after the services of the artist are complete, but the artist always retains the copyright. That's what's in our contracts, but that's only for the city of San Jose. I can't speak for anybody else.
And Kristen, you can chime in if I'm wrong on this, but we have worked on public art projects where we're not commissioning you, you're working with a partner. So it wouldn't be county owned. We would not maintain copyright unless you need to work that out with with your advocate. So that will be a conversation that will come up as we're contracting with you.
Right. And the reminder that these are designed to be temporary, although in a few cases they may be permanent. So likely these are going to follow the sort of general answer that Tara gave about temporary artworks, because the county won't be taking, the advocates and not the county will be taking on any kind of a role of maintaining, likely. So again, depending on what you and the advocate want to do and decide, and then it gets to us and we look at what the contract will be, we'll try to work that out together.
Any other questions about the form? I'm going to stop sharing so I can see you all. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing now. We'll go back to seeing all your faces.
There you are.
There you are. Okay, so we have 10 more minutes left. We're glad to take some other questions. Anybody have other questions? Make sure you unmute yourself. I see a few people talking, but your buttons.
I thought I just did. I guess
That's okay.
Anyway, I want to go back to the samples that we're submitting.
Mm-hmm.
Since my project, which is yet to be discussed tomorrow at our meeting in Petaluma, is made out of junk.
Mm-hmm.
And possibly contributed, I mean, my hope is by the community. I don't know yet what this is going to look like, but I have seen pieces done by artists and communities, like collecting beach junk, that I've loved. And I'm one, but to draw it wouldn't make any sense. You wouldn't be able to see what my idea is. Mm-hmm. Is it okay as long as I'm giving the artist who did that attribution if I enclose things like that?
Yeah, I think if it's a similar process, we want to know, you might want to create a document that talks about how you're going to do the process, and then attach some samples of saying it will be similar to this, and then your own work, because we have seen samples of your work, Susan. So if you want to use your own work that you're going to be doing in a similar way, very similar to how you applied to the artist cohort. We know some of these things are occurring in the moment. Okay. So you're not necessarily designing something at the outset. So more for those of you that are doing ephemeral or temporal pieces, it's more about your plan for how it's going to occur.
Okay.
And samples of how it might end up, or your goal and how that might end. Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Sure. Other questions? Okay, if we don't have questions, you know where to find us, both Kristen and I, and Tara and Jessica, if they're your contacts. Especially Jessica, I know you're the lead on this project, but I will follow up. We'll post this video if you want to go back to it and review some of that. Otherwise, please reach out to us if you have any questions as you're crafting your proposals. Kristen, do you have anything else to add, or Jessica, Tara?
No, other than I'm so excited to have this sort of picture of everything happening around the county. And as I say that, I will say one thing. I know we asked in the proposal itself, give us your best guesstimate on the date, but we will definitely be working with the advocates and you as we get closer, because we are also going to be trying to document what's happening county-wide and talking about it along the way. So we will be reaching out occasionally like, hey, what's happening and when are you scheduled? Because we want to come down and take some photographs, et cetera, et cetera. So just be ready to hear from us as these things get underway, so that we know we're seeing what's happening while it's happening and making sure more than just the people that are working on it see it as well.
And also, I know you're probably all curious about what everybody else is doing, but we're going to hold on until you submit your proposals and we submitted that. And then we'll definitely announce to you all what your projects are and the themes, because it'll be fun to go see each other's work.
And the world.
In the world.
Sonoma
Yeah,
County.
we will let you, we will let you know, and then we will
Yeah.
let the greater community know. There'll be press releases and all kinds of good stuff surrounding.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
All right, thank you, and we'll be talking to you soon. Take
Happy
care.
August. Bye.
Bye.